Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I say all three because whether you are joining us live or later on demand, we want to welcome you to the first session of the Insight 2022 webinar series. We are so excited to bring an all-star team together with you to talk personally while spotlighting Forward Air and expanding on our Starting Your Own Trucking Business series with truck ownership opportunities at ES. Where in 2022, it's all about you. My name is Leah Shaver, and I will serve as host and moderator of our conversation. Before we get started, I want to thank all of you for what you are doing to keep our country moving through this difficult time. Thank you to those of you who work from sunup to sunset and all the time before, after, and in between, but especially taking the time to join us today. Over the course of a very eventful and tumultuous last 23 months, as professional truck drivers continue to deliver necessities across North America, I am always cheering for you. I worry about you. I hope the best for you. And today we are so happy to connect with you. Before I introduce our panelists, and as we give attendees a moment to join us, I'm going to share a couple of notes about today's webinar. First of all, the Insight 2022 online series is being presented by Expediter Services. ES is a leader in capacity solutions and ownership opportunities. Expediter Services is pleased to have Stoops Freightliner serve as the title sponsor for the Insight 2022 series. Now, our webinar is only one part of the Insight 2022 opportunity to join us. ES is also producing the Insight 2022 podcast series. Through the podcast, we offer listeners an in-depth look at key issues and opportunities in the trucking industry. To listen to the podcast series and to get the latest news on Insight, you can visit us at successintrucking.com. And to anyone who, like me, is celebrating a birthday in February, with the most recent issue of the podcast that dropped earlier this month, you will enjoy a real live opera singer serenading us with birthday wishes. Later, following the panelist discussion, Jeff Tacker, Chief Commercial Officer for Expediter Services, will join me for a discussion and recap of FAQs that came in during the live presentation. In this edition of the Insight 2022 webinar series from ES, we will be exploring how comprehensive support and services that trucking business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs receive as part of the ES community while working with Forward Air ensures that you will never stand alone. I'm going to make some brief introductions for each of us as we get started. My name is Leah Shaver. I own and operate the National Transportation Institute. We serve information and support to folks that employ or contract with professional drivers or work with companies that do. We aim to deliver opportunities for fleets to grow, to attract additional workers, and expand in the marketplace with appropriately compensated, engaged, and retained workforce. We also work with other vendor service organizations and help them expand in the trucking industry. Now, I serve as an officer on the board of directors of the Women in Trucking Association, the board of directors of the Next Generation in Trucking Association, and a lot of you know me because I work part-time as a talk radio host on SiriusXM's Road Dog Trucking Radio. In addition to filling in for full-time hosts, you can catch me the first Thursday of every month from 4 to 7 Eastern on the Payday with Leah Shaver on Road Dog Live and on demand on the SiriusXM app. Now, when it comes to the topic at hand, for 27 years, NTI has concentrated our studies on professional driver wages, best practices, and programs. We analyze nearly every aspect that relates to professional drivers, from before you entered the industry to training, to perks and programs, to owner-operator success, and everything that impacts the trucking industry and market. And most of all, what influences your paycheck, like capacity, supply, and demand. Successful organizations have had to monitor rapidly changing conditions, manage expectations, and leave room to pivot when necessary. It is always crucial to monitor economic conditions that impact your business and align with folks that are going to protect your business by knowing your business, supporting your goals and knowledge bank during both certain and uncertain times. During the pandemic, we've operated in an environment that I've been quoted to as 2018 with complications. We have incredibly high demand, rates continue to escalate, but we are still severely net short capacity in nearly all markets and segments. There has never been a more in-demand time for folks to become owners in the industry to grow their fleets or to expand their operations. Joining me for today's discussion is Meghan Turner, Director of Recruiting at Expediter Services. Meghan, who has more than 10 years of experience in the trucking industry, found a home with ES in 2019. From the start with ES, Meghan quickly displayed her talent for relationship building in her initial role as a recruiter. Within the first year at ES, Meghan became the lead recruiter for the company while advancing in 2020 to now serve as the Director of Recruiting for ES. She began her career in transportation with Roadmaster Driving School, where over 10 years with the school, she held 5 different positions. When asked to describe her time on the ES team, Meghan explains that she is excited to be a part of something that she believes in, and the ability to change people's lives is an amazing feeling. We're going to touch more on that during the conversation today. We also have with us Rachel Gilbert. She's the Director of Talent Marketing and OTR Capacity Development for Forward Air. Rachel joined Forward in 2016 as a fleet marketing coordinator. Since then, she has held several roles in which she leveraged passion, energy, and organization to help drive results across all business units. Currently, she serves as the Director of Talent Marketing and Over-the-Road Capacity Development. Rachel oversees talent and fleet marketing for the enterprise, with additional focus on OTR efforts supporting Forward's LTL and truckload groups. She uses fleet marketing metrics to create synergies and processes within the over-the-road driver recruiting group and to drive a more effective overall capacity development strategy. Now, the three of us have crossed paths several times. ES sponsors the 150 Business Challenge in partnership with Women in Trucking. We've spent time together at Women in Trucking events. We've done collaborative opportunities within our 3 companies. And of course, we support and encourage women through the 150 Business Challenge, at which point, I think, Meghan, if I'm right, ES is with about, I want to say we've created 130 women-owned businesses through that challenge. We're in the mid 130s. Now, I would guess you both would agree that leadership at both of your organizations is not only creating, but articulating career path. Owner-operator used to be the pinnacle of the career, and that hasn't changed for a professional driver, but it's a lot sooner than before. You two are frontline with folks that are interested in becoming owner-operators. Is that what you see as well?
Yeah, I'll speak on my behalf here. 100%. I think when it comes to opportunities that we have just within Forward Air, we've been extremely accommodating to building that business up. To talk a little bit about just what our network is comprised of, and all the driver opportunities that we have. We've definitely been able to support that and the efforts there. We are a very much so asset-light company. We have a 50-50 mix between single unit and independent contractors, and the other half of the fleet being fleet owners, which has provided several opportunities for drivers.
So with that network, when you are focused on a group where you want to be especially accommodating to folks that are owner operators already, that want to become owner operators, that are fleet owners with their own team, there has to be a number of amenities, network advantages, things that the company puts in front of whether, again, it's an individual driver or a group of drivers, so that we're really catering to them in an environment that says we are forward facing owner operators. I popped the forward in on my own. I didn't plan that. It just kind of came out.
That was good. That's probably one of the easiest things that people go to for punchlines for. Just talking about our driver base too, and everything that we offer our drivers, just talking about the driver base in general. We have over 4,200, probably just slightly over that in terms of the number of drivers that we have for our OTR fleet. It's really made up of probably a little bit over 1,600 drivers. And then really on our local side, which I believe most probably know are comprised of 3 different divisions here, that probably makes up about 2,600 drivers. Our local PED division being our smaller division, about right over 500 drivers. And then our Forward Intermodal and our Forward Final Mile being over combined together about 2,000 drivers, about 1,000 drivers total on each of those sides. So when it comes to driver amenities and things that we have available for our drivers, we have over 200 terminal locations nationwide. And when it comes to amenities, there's a lot of terminals that I would say on more the local side that are kind of the spots where you just go in and say, hey, how are you? There's some TVs for drivers and other smaller amenities. But when it comes to our larger LTL terminals and our over-the-road network, there are several other additional amenities when it comes to a driver lounge. A really good example is actually here in Columbus. Over the last, I want to say close to 2 years now, maybe a year and a half is probably more comfortable. But we've actually really expanded on that. And we have a huge expansion that goes into play. I think we move in the end of March, but it's going to come with, a state-of-the-art facility for our drivers when it comes to orientation. So that's, when newer drivers come on with us, we orientate them for a couple days. But it also is going to come with a new state-of-the-art break room for them that has all amenities that you can possibly think of, showers, washer and dryers, and at any location, larger LTL terminal locations, they'll come with that as well. And obviously when it comes to just our network in general, one of the biggest things that we focused on is that LTL expansion, which hopefully will then, our goal there is to create more terminal locations as well.
Well, and I would imagine that anyone within your network can park at any one of those 200 facilities. So that in itself has to be a huge network advantage to folks that are working with you, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And even in our Columbus location that we just built, we just almost doubled to tripled the additional available parking too.
That's awesome. It's, I think in terms, I'm sure it was high on this year's list from professional drivers, but certainly when they call in, parking has been an increasing issue over the last few years. And so anytime there's great reach, that's a wonderful thing to know that there's plenty of room to be accessible. Now, the other thing that's been significant in the last couple of years for professional drivers has been pay, but forward has been especially forward when it comes to pay increases. And I can speak to that because that's what my company monitors. But tell us about Forward's approach to pay in the last few years. I think you've had a really significant increase recently, and it wasn't the last. It wasn't the first, probably isn't the last, right?
Yeah, I feel like the last couple of years, you shared a little bit my marketing history when it comes to the driver side of things. I think every single year I get to post our largest rate increase for the year, but we have. So we've really invested into that, and when it just comes down to it, our end goal is to really provide drivers with 3 simple solutions, whether that's more money in the pocket of our ICs, whether this allows them to have more home time because they are earning an additional rate per mile, or this is going to allow them to possibly fulfill their dream of becoming a fleet owner. We've had 6 increases in the last 5 years. The increases, I think, combined with other increases that we've done from 2016, has increased our solo and team rate by 25 and 43% respectively over that time. So you can definitely see the increase. We just went into effect the 6th of this month, an additional 15-cent increase. I would say when it comes to increases, certainly when you look at, really the economy and what's happening, and we all know the ups and downs of kind of how this rolls in the transportation industry, we definitely have a strong comp when it comes, in times where the spot market kind of plays in favor of the hands of spot carriers. But really at the same time, our rate per mile, from the rate per mile perspective, throughout the ebbs and flows of the economy, there are not many carriers that have a better rate per mile compensation model than what we do. And I think on our behalf, this really recognizes our dedication to excellence, the precision execution that our drivers have every single day, but then also our drivers and our ICs safety first mentality.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you combine rates, service, strong partnerships, right, just by testament of the folks here, options by location, and if you expand on that, you think about depending on life changes, on schedule needs, In this case, when you put all of these things together, size really has an impact here for any contractor that's going to be associated with Forward. And so I want to bring that together then in terms of ES and truck ownership. Meghan, talk to us about the programs that ES offers and how we serve the community of drivers as a whole.
Sure. I want to backtrack just a little bit and thank both you guys for being here today. I respect both of you on a personal note and on a business note. I think what you guys are doing in the industry speaks volumes of who you guys are as people. So thanks for joining us. And we're all women. It's an all women panel. So exciting things. But I want to piggyback off of what Rachel said with the pay increases. I wish you could see how big my eyes got because it's huge. It's a big thing. I mean, when you combine their pay rates or pay increases with the offerings that we have and how we're helping drivers save money on fuel and maintenance and all the discounts that we offer, it's really helping owners and independent contractors save tremendously a month. So it's a great partnership we both have. But PTO is kind of our bread and butter. We do a lot of things here, but mainly at Forward Air, our PTO program, the Path to Ownership program is what the majority of the drivers are doing. I think it is unlike any other thing in the industry, the PTO program. It's giving drivers the opportunity to really try it before you buy it. I mean, they're coming in, we pair them up with a company that's providing them with the load so they can be successful. We're making sure that it's the right fit for them, and it's a try before you buy it. So we give it about 3 to 6 months. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. It depends on the person, but we are financing trucks to drivers based on your attitude, based on your work ethic, and based on the revenue that truck is generating. You run our truck over at a motor carrier. Let's make sure it's the right fit for all of us before jumping into financing. It is an opportunity to actually become an owner operator, become a business person, start your own business. And we have all the tools and resources you need to do so. So we actually pair you up with a service coordinator here at our office. And that service coordinator is like your right-hand person, your right-hand guy that's going to guide you into ownership. We want to make sure all of our T's are crossed and I's are dotted before we finance. But it's a true ownership opportunity. It's a way that in the beginning you're actually renting a tractor, and in the end you're financing a truck. So you start out as an independent contractor running at Forward Air. We're going to give it 3 to 6 months, and we're going to make sure that it's the right fit for you, that you're making money, you're profitable, Forward Air is doing their part. And then you go from an independent contractor to financing a truck to becoming an owner operator. So it all happens right here at the office, and it's like a full circle. You know, it starts with Forward Air, and it ends with being an owner operator. So you know, I still recruit heavily, even though I'm the director here. I have a great team behind me, but I still recruit, and I recruit a lot for Forward Air. And I think the biggest thing that I hear about with drivers is they say, what if this doesn't work out? What if, you know, what if I get over there and it's a disaster and it's just like any other trucking company that I've heard of in the past? Well, you know what if it does work out? What if things happen the way it's supposed to? Then this is an opportunity for you to finance a truck with really having to come out of pocket, because you and I both know, Leah, equipment is hard to come by nowadays, especially over the past 2 years. So I'm not saying we have an endless supply of equipment by any means, but I am saying that we have a good relationship. We're partnered with the right people, Stoops Freightliner, Dobbs Peterbilt. We've got a great relationship with them. They kind of keep us ahead of the game, keep us ahead of the curve. So at least we know what's coming. And those guys, both dealerships really do a good job of going above and beyond than just equipment and financing us or supplying equipment to us. So with all that being said, we have the equipment and we have the freight and we have the tools and we have everything a driver needs to become an owner. But that part in the back of your mind, that what if I fail? It's just change. It's change, but not all change is bad. I think a lot of change is linked to success. So it's just investing in the right people. So I think the combination that what Forward Air offers and what we offer together is really making a huge difference in the industry.
So Meghan, with the PTO program, it sounds like we remove some of the typical obstacles that folks that might be interested in becoming an owner operator might face, such as credit related or history related. I mean, we're looking more at their work history, at what they bring to the job. What other types of help are offered through ES? There's the PTO program, but there's other areas of assistance, correct?
Correct. Yes. So we have one of the best fuel platforms in the industry, huge on fuel savings. We have truck financing. We've got insurance offerings. We've got discounts on maintenance, discounts on tires. I mean, everything is at hand's reach and just at one grab. So when I say that it's a full circle, I mean it literally starts with you just driving a truck, and everything else falls into place as far as the financing portion of a new piece of equipment, the truck sales department, as well as discounts on insurance, discounts on maintenance, discounts on everything that you need, so that we're helping you save money at the end of the day.
It sounds like we're putting together a lot of the components that it takes to achieve not only goals, but even dreams as far as truck ownership. And I would reference that again as being a career path progression. And between the three of us, we've all experienced a particular career path in the trucking industry and even at our respective companies. What's it like for each of you to be offering like the pinnacle of career path to professional drivers as you go to work every day? You can fight over the mic now. Yeah.
Meghan, you can start if you want. And then I'll
you go.
Okay. Well, for me, it's extremely rewarding to be able to come to work every single day knowing, and this is funny, one of our newer recruiters even said this when I was talking with him. Mind you, this is his third week here. He said it's beyond rewarding walking in every day, providing people opportunities to be successful. And that resonates with me so well. Walking in every single day for the last almost 6 years now, I've been able to say, I know I'm offering people a chance to be successful. And at the end of the day, whether they take it or not, I hope they do. But working with a company that has allowed that foundation to resonate to the drivers too is just amazing. And I definitely say this more times than not. It's been quite an awesome opportunity over the last 6 years to grow just as an individual. But seeing the company grow itself as well in the last 6 years has been just nothing shy of amazing.
So I've been at Expediter Services for 2.5 years, and the last year of it, I've been the director of recruiting. But before that, I did run a truck driving school for about 9 years, and it's a completely different side of things, but it's all career mindset. So in the beginning, I'm helping drivers start a career. Now I'm in the position where I'm helping drivers further their career, taking the next leap, the next step to becoming an owner operator. So it's rewarding in all different aspects. It's always been that way. I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that it's and you guys at Forward Air too, like your L&P department, I feel like they get it more than we do. They're the ones that get the excitement, and they get to sit down in front of the driver, whenever they're ordering their plates or doing their paperwork to, get things going. So it's rewarding. But something that bothers me, I know it's supposed to be all positive right now. Something that bothers me is when I do something rewarding to myself, like if I let's say I buy a new car, or I reward myself by I buy cars all the time, but buy a new car, get a new pair of shoes, something, and someone looks at me and says, wow, that must really be nice, Meghan. It must really be nice to be able to go get a car, and that must really be nice to go get a new pair of shoes. Well, you know what? On the back side of things, I've worked since I was 16. I've worked all summers while my friends were out playing. I've I ran this truck driving school that was days and nights and weekends, drivers trying to get their CDL. So guess what? I did the 16, 17-hour days and weekends, and and to turn it around on the drivers, that's kind of the same thing the drivers are going through. They're driving out there, they're missing their kids' birthdays, they're missing baseball games with their kids. They go through things that we don't have to go through, as far as they're stuck in traffic, may not be able to deliver a load on time. The shipper may not have them on the schedule that day. They may be dealing with a dispatcher that's not as nice as what they could be. But at the end of the day, my whole point to this is it is nice. It's nice when it's worth it. It's nice to drive for a company that at the end of the day, you can say, I've set my goals. This is worth it. It's worth it for me to miss my kid's game. It's worth it for me to work 16 hours because at the end of the day, I got something I wanted to get. So when someone says it must be nice, it is nice. It's nice at the end of the day to be proud of something and be proud of your new truck or your new car, to work hard towards your goals. So, I would say just remember that you choose where you're at today. Nobody else chooses that for you. So, don't look back on February 2023 and say, I'm in the exact same spot I was February 2022. Where am I at with my change in career and my change in life? Everything's temporary and everything can change. So there's my spill, Leah. There's my spill.
We might have just developed the next ES t-shirt. For those women that have seen ES at any kind of conference or fair, they give out t-shirts that say I run like a girl, and they're highly coveted by women in the industry. So maybe we need a t-shirt that says it must be nice, on the front, and on the back it says it is nice. Just ask me. So there you go, Meghan. I've got your new recruiting t-shirt developed, and we'll slap a Forward logo on it, Rachel, so that you have a little bit more swag to wear to our next gathering. So we've gotten a couple of questions, and I think they're relevant to the conversation now, just to run through with the two of you. I think that they're key, and they don't take away from the conversation point that we're heading. Why drivers would want to partner with ES in order to take the next step with Forward Air in the PTO program. Do you have any success stories? And we'll have to grab his email address and send him some of our previous webinars in the Insight series where we had success stories at Forward Air that had graduated from the PTO program. So I'm going to ask two questions. One, and I think both of you might answer it differently, but in your own way. Why someone does want to partner with ES in order to take the next step with Forward Air. And then we'll talk about kind of expected earnings once you graduate from PTO program in ownership at Forward Air. So did you capture both my questions? And I'll be here just in case you forgot.
Yes.
I think so.
I'll start. So I think as far as the partnership that Forward Air and ES has, I think we both got one goal. We both got one mindset. We're both there to help the driver become successful. But as far as the PTO program, it's a way for you to truly finance and own your own truck. So as far as the pay structure goes, Rachel, I don't know if you want to piggyback on that and go from there.
Yeah, no, I can definitely. And I kind of want to add too, I think something that makes our partnership so good and make it work are several different factors. But I think one of the biggest is I think both of us have very much so a driver first mindset at every single decision. I know there's several different metrics that can play into that or factors on our side that play into that. But kind of echoing what you said before, it is nice to be able to give those people and other drivers, whether male or female in the industry, a way to be successful if you want to take it. But when it comes to earnings, our driver, especially with the 15-cent rate increase, after it is kind of the part that I'll cover here. After we have our drivers with this new rate increase for team owner operators making about $41,000 a month, which any IC can jump all over that.
during the evaluation period, like during the 3 to 6 months when you guys are running for us, it is percentage based. But we help you set up those goals. And once a month, we go over your numbers that you're running, what you're cash flowing, to make sure that you're set up for success before we finance you a truck. We're not going to finance you and move on to the next step of ownership if you're not making money at Forward Air. I mean, that doesn't make sense for anybody. It doesn't make sense for Forward Air. Doesn't make sense for the driver. It doesn't make sense for us financing the truck. We definitely make sure that you're profitable. Forward Air is doing their part and providing with the lowest to be successful before we move on to the finance part of things. But Rachel, I do think we work well together. I know you love me very. I think we work well together. But if there's a problem and we figure out a solution, and not just you and I, your whole recruiting team, the L&P department, safety. It doesn't matter who it is, but that's what family does, right? So, I mean, that's part of it. But we are running a business. But I do know a lot of you guys on a personal level, and I do think it goes a long way, in our business relationship that we have.
Yeah, I agree.
I also want to touch on previous webinars that we had and we will do this again as well. Today we featured a girl party, but in the past and again in the future, we'll have actual success stories from the program. And we've had many owners that began their path in the PTO program at ES and graduated from that program and are now owners. And, I think Megan's quote of the 3 to 6 months is probably the standard, the typical timeline. We've had folks that did it faster. And as she said, we've had folks that graduated from the program a little bit longer, took them a while, whether by way of confidence. Rachel, I think you've even said one of the best things about the PTO program is it's whatever the professional driver is ready for. Yep. So Megan, there isn't necessarily, is there like a cutoff time? I mean, where we say you've made it or broken, right? That doesn't happen. So I think that's key. And again, I'm answering some of the questions that have come in from the chat. The other thing was a team, owner with Forward Air that's graduated from the PTO program. They might be producing $41K a month gross, right? So then after expenses, they're still doing quite well. Maybe even as much as $25K a month, correct? Net after work expenses. Okay. And then we also had a question about fleet owners. Yes, we've had fleet owner success stories in one of our earlier Insight webinars. They're available at successintrucking.com. When you find our webinars page, you can see the on-demand episodes of the Insight series that we've had. But we've had fleet owners that have started with ES with one truck, right? And now have many. So fleet ownership is also an opportunity. So in summing up, Megan, I think I heard, serving the community of drivers. I heard the PTO program, a variety of different ways that we provide assistance. We remove obstacles that might happen in traditional financing, while also giving opportunities in driving down costs with different advantages. We talked about ES equipment and truck sales, and of course there's access to inventory. Now, limited, but we do have a supply. Yes, okay. And then of course, again, financing to back that purchase, which I think a lot of folks that have been interested in ownership have really experienced some headwinds in the last year related to not only inventory, financing, et cetera. I mean, there's a lot of roadblocks out there. Benefits of driving down costs. I think you ran through those, Megan. Anything else you wanted to add related to the ES program?
I just think that outside of the PTO program, I know this is spotlighting Forward Air, but just to run down in general, whether you want to finance a truck or whether you want to own a truck or whether you just want to drive a truck. I mean, there's other avenues and other ways that we can help drivers as well.
touch on, Meghan, again, getting started. There's a question of, do I have to work at Forward Air first and then apply for PTO? It's the other way around, right? We can kind of do them in synchrony. Do you want to talk through that?
So there's a few different ways you can get started with us. There's no typical application process that is with us. That's done actually by the motor carrier. So if you're interested in this program, I suggest you pick up the phone and call us, or check us out online, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. But pick up the phone and call us. We can place you with a carrier that we think best suits you. I think my team does a really great job of listening. So let us listen to what you're looking for and what you're looking to do, and let us place you with the right carrier. Then you would apply with that motor carrier. That motor carrier would be the one to run your MVR, your background checks, employment verification. And then once you're approved by that motor carrier, then we can move forward with putting you in one of our trucks and running it at that motor carrier. So it all starts with a phone call. All you got to do is call in, and we'll figure out the best spot for you.
Okay. All right. So thank you for answering that. We've been talking about how the ES community provides support and leverage. They ask for feedback, they address concerns, they follow up so folks know that they're heard. They provide carrier advocacy so business owners focus on generating revenue and not on those day-to-day issues. The variety of different supports that are available. And they also leverage experience and contacts to negotiate and make available a variety of other resources and advantages in by way of services, discounts, amenities, et cetera, to their business community. So the motto as it stands is that with ES, you never stand alone. Meghan and Rachel, when you love what you do, you want to do more. You feel more fulfilled. It makes it easier to go to work every day, especially when you're going to have a girl party, while getting paid at work, right? It's easy to go in and put in your all. And I think, in fact, we referenced a quote from you, Meghan, when I introduced you about really helping people and making their day better as well by helping them to achieve what they're looking for in their career. But the partnership with both companies, can you talk about how it impacts that end user, how you and drivers that work with you, joining the two companies, how does your work fulfillment and what you do kind of translate into the rest of the folks that you're supporting in the community?
So again, I feel like that ES and Forward Air, we're always on the same page, but we are on the driver's side. So we think that it starts with, or we know that it starts with the ground up. It starts with the driver to the trucking company. So we're going to do everything that we can to help the driver become successful. So if that means that we need to step in on the driver's behalf and make sure Forward Air is doing their part of things and they're providing the drivers with the loads, and that's what we're going to do. But at the same time, we have that respect with Forward Air that they're working with our drivers just as much as we are, trying to achieve the same goals. I mean, they start out at independent contractors on a truck, and the end result is they're becoming owner operators. And I think I speak on mine and Rachel's behalf to say that we're running a business. Almost it feels like we're doing it together, but we're doing it to achieve a goal of helping drivers become owners. So there's no butting heads. I think that what we're doing is great. It's a good feeling. It is a good feeling to come to work and know that Forward Air is just a phone call away, and vice versa, so that we can help the drivers, achieve what they're here to do, and that's to better their lives, better their families, own a truck, and make money doing it. I mean, it's a driver's world. It's not how it was 5 years ago. I mean, Forward Air is actually giving drivers the pay that they deserve, the respect that they deserve. You said something earlier, Rachel, that I liked. Was it dedication is excellence? Is that what you said? I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that all the time now. I'm going to use that in my daily life, because I think that's dedication is excellence to what we do. And that CDL is gold, and drivers can get a job anywhere. That doesn't mean they're going to find a good job anywhere. That doesn't mean that they're going to have the support from us or that doesn't mean they're going to have, a great company like Ford Air. So, I think that we work well together on all aspects because we're trying to achieve the same goals.
I think I can echo that as well. I think, just being in my seat and seeing how over the last 6 years of growth for myself, but also just within this department and in the over the road side, I'm obviously learning a lot in the last 6 years. The one thing that I can really, hit home is everybody here, from our operations team, from, safety, LMP, recruiting, all of the different moving parts, even all the way up to our C-levels. We all have that driver first mindset. And I'll kind of echo what you said too, is that, ES is here for the success of the drivers. Well, so are we. We want our drivers to be successful. And, we do several things, I think, that go on behind the scenes to completely echo that. We have this leadership imperative. We have 2 ears and one mouth. And we started this driver board just a few years back. And I think, when people say driver boards in the industry, they might not have the best rap, but our driver board truly is one that is completely set apart to others. Our CEO, Tom Schmidt, he really makes it a point to listen with 2 ears. And what comes out after that with one mouth is we've heard what our driver said are the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever way you want. To interpret what they say and what they bring in, but we look to spark change just from those conversations and those meetings alone. And then from there, we have also a driver relations team that, I can't speak highly enough of, that what their whole sole goal is to work with our current fleet. So whether that's an ES driver or a single unit IC, or even our fleet owners, just to help them through anything that they might have come up. That alone speaks volumes, because that team is just so pivotal to our success as well. And then not only that, but we have so many different special incentives for fleet owners as well that are outside just our ES drivers, our single unit ICs, that in my opinion, we provide such a good direct line, not only to, for example, our operations team, which is that direct line for fleet optimization. And then we have that driver relations team, which I just talked about, for driver support. And then we also have our recruiting team, who really helps enable growth and sustainable growth. We just rolled out, a few years back, I say that like I've been here for 25 years plus. But we just rolled out our 10-4 mobile app in the last few years as well, which really allows not only single unit ICs, but allows fleet owners to successfully manage their fleet, or a single unit ICs successfully manage their business as well. All tools that are put together to do nothing but help the driver and to really have that driver first mindset. So there's a ton of things that I think we do that just echoes and resonates that, Ford Air is here to help the success of a driver. And, whatever that looks like for that driver and whatever path they want to go down, kind of tying it back to what I said earlier with rate increases, is that's either putting more money in our drivers' pockets, that's whether they want to be home more, or whether that's helping them reach their goal of fleet ownership. We're here at the end of the day for the driver and to service the driver.
Well, I think I'll add then, in tandem, what it sounds like to me is that both of your organizations have very similar goals for the folks that are working in your community. And, again, like Rachel was just saying, whether that's one truck, whether it's a fleet of trucks, whether it's one driver or a team, or again, accelerating into fleet ownership, you all have similar goals, and you're working in tandem to make sure that the folks in the community can achieve that together. So I was going to ask you, say that in 2022, it's all about you, meaning the drivers in our community and what that means to you. But I think you just answered collectively: partnership, desired path, whether it's PTO or ownership, or working your way from one to the other. Is there any detail I missed in a way you would describe in 2022? It's all about you.
Well, the only thing I would say, Leah, is I always ask the drivers that I'm recruiting, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think about that. If someone were to ask me, where do I see myself in 5 years? I mean, I would really have to stop and think, because the first thing I would think about is where my kids would be at in 5 years. And then I would think about, where's my marriage going to be at in 5 years, instead of thinking, my goals and where I see myself in 5 years. So when asking a driver that, where do you see yourself in 5 years in your career? What do you see yourself doing? I would say, think about yourself first, and think about, what we can do together as Forward Air, ES, and the driver, to help you further your career and to be successful. I mean, if you're out there and you're thinking, I want to be a fleet owner one day, or I want to finance a truck, or I want to drive for a fleet owner, or if any of those point back to you, then ES, Forward Air, I think would be home for you. I mean, Forward Air attracts a lot of veteran drivers. They attract a lot of husband and wife teams. And I've heard you use this reference before, Leah, that Forward Air, I don't think it's a starter company. They're not your, and I can say that because I ran a truck driving school. So I've had my fair share of starter companies. That's not Forward Air. Forward Air is your drivers that's been in the industry. They know what they're doing, and they're trying to find a company they can call home. So if you see yourself in 5 years owning a truck, then I think we're just a phone call away, and it's a perfect opportunity to get with the right company and the right support from ES, so that we can all come together to make your dreams come true, because it can happen at arm's reach.
Yeah, and just to kind of echo that, it's funny you bring in 5 years. I think our partnership has been very close to about 5 years. I think we're at 4 now. So funny you say for the next 5 years. But I would say, even just looking back on the last 4 years that we've had this, partnership for, I've been part of Forward Air for the last 6, and it's just seen this grow. And, I have to say, I'm really proud of the number of success stories. So, we say 2022, it's all about you. It's all about your success story and what you see. And I would definitely say the drivers that we've had just in the past in the program, and I know we kind of talked about it earlier too, but going back to Lincoln to hear success stories, I think that's huge. And those that have gone through the Forward Air program too, I know we have a lot of, road dogs out there that preach our program, and that actually will recruit drivers, and we'll get them in contact with previous successful drivers that have gone through the program, team and solos. And they all speak so highly of it, and that it's put them on their career path where they saw themselves going. But at the end of the day, our end goal is to put drivers in a position that gives them the chance to be successful. And ES has definitely been a cornerstone in that imperative, and has been definitely the company that has helped get drivers there. So I'll echo that, but all in all, I would definitely say the PTO program just has allowed drivers to be successful. And I think in 2022, where equipment is hard to come by, and I'm sure it's going to get a little bit tighter here, but hopefully it starts loosening up. Fingers crossed there. But ES makes that possible and makes it a little bit easier. So, in all, that's really what I would end cap that with, is that, yeah, it is all about you, and it's all about decisions and what you define as success.
Welcome back. As we mentioned earlier, we had so many questions during today's webinar, first in the Insight 2022 series, that I asked Jeff Tacker to join me for a quick recap. Let's start, Jeff, with an intro. In a nutshell, who is ES?
Hey, Leah, before I get started on that, I do want to say thank you so much for hosting and moderating this segment of the Insight 2022 It's All About You webinar. And I want to make sure I say thank you to Rachel Gilbert and to Forward Air, and a shout out to Meghan Turner, our own Meghan Turner, Director of Recruiting. So thank you, and thanks to everyone. But now, who are we? We are not a motor carrier. We're a service company. We are a business generator. We create capacity, safe, profitable, stable, scalable capacity. And then we service that capacity with what we consider the best advantages in the industry. And one of those ways is that we help people partner with the motor carrier that best fits their needs and helps them reach and obtain their goals and fills their desires for their business.
Got it. We talked a lot today about meeting our goals, about achieving dreams of small business, of business ownership, of business growth. So you told us who you are. Now tell us what you do. How do you do it?
What we do, Leah, is we help those people that we've helped create and generate their business. We help them maximize their business with efficiencies at the truck level, from the ground level up. We help drive the top line with support and increase the bottom line with industry-leading discounts such as fuel, shop, tires, insurance, legal services, back office support, etc. This efficient support is carried out with our service coordinators and our financial technologies platform.
Okay, totally understood. So what about the financing piece? That also got a lot of attention and questions today about how it is that you finance.
So let me start by this saying, we don't have a traditional lease purchase. Our financing program is unique and designed to benefit the user. We serve the entire spectrum of buyers with many different offerings. We find a way to say yes, yes, yes. That's what we do, Leah. And we do that by meeting you where you are and helping you based upon your needs and desires.
Understood. There were also a lot of questions on what folks could potentially make. You know, priority number one is what hits the check for the truck and what gets deposited into the bank. So let's talk monthly earning potential first for folks that are in the PTO program. That got a lot of attention today.
Yeah, sounds great. I'll reference back to something that Rachel Gilbert at Forward Air said. Based on the averages of Forward Air, a good team at Forward Air in their LTL division, she said, could produce on average $41,000 top line gross. That's the number that she threw out there. So based upon our PTO rental, the try it before you buy it, which you heard Meghan explain earlier, that allows a person to come in and make sure they like us, like the motor carrier, like the equipment type, like the lifestyle. They can try it before they have to sign a financial document to buy it. But based upon that, that team could earn anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 a month each. Now, that's not a guarantee. This is work. You do have to earn it. It is earnings, not giftings. So, but when they do those things, that's $12,000 to $16,000 a month for the same household team. And I'm talking about the amount that's deposited into their bank account. I'm not talking about some pie in the sky. This is money that they'll have access to, Leah.
Okay, so that's PTO, which we're calling try before you buy, right? The path to ownership. What about once they do commit? They buy the truck, they're in their truck. How does it change once they're out of or graduated from the PTO program, as we talked about today?
Sure. Well, based upon that same $41,000 monthly top line gross that she spoke about for a good team in LTL, once they graduate and move into full ownership with the truck, they could earn an additional, that's correct, an additional $8,000 to $10,000 a month. Additional on top of the amount I spoke about earlier. So this means that a same household team driving and owning a truck could be $20,000 to $26,000 a month deposited to their bank after truck and operating expenses. The truck note, fuel, some R&M, averages. That's a big number, Leah. Simply stated, they could make $8,000 a month each as a driver, and then another 10 grand as the owner of the truck each month. $25,000, $26,000 a month deposited to their bank account. Now, once again, that's earnings. It's not a guarantee. It's not a gift. It's an earning potential, and they have to do it. But those are the numbers that Rachel shared, and it's valid. And we have some people doing less than that, but I'm telling you also, we have people doing more than that. So I don't know how good, it depends on how good they are, what they can do. But the opportunity's there, the potential's there, and it's real.
All right, so I think we hit the most common questions that we didn't reach during the webinar. Any final thoughts today, sir?
I do have one thought. What are you waiting on? Call us now.
All right. You heard it right here. The info's at the bottom of the screen, successintrucking.com. Our phone number is there. Our website is there. You know how to get in touch. ES hopes that you'll take the time to join their community in a variety of ways. Get in touch and stay in touch. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay connected, as with ES, you never stand alone. I'm Leah Shaver. Thanks for joining us.